Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 repeater. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society takes to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater. It spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. So I'll pause momentarily, see if anybody needs to make a contact or has emergency traffic before we get underway. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Taking check-ins now. We got WU7N, James on by video. Is there anybody else who would like to check in?
K9PQ.
And we have Bob, K9PQ. And again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM, taking in check-ins for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. And I see KD7QKU has checked in by video.
Connected N7KC.
And we have Ron, KD7QKU, and we have N7KC checked in by Echolink. And again, is there anybody else who would like to check in this evening? Well, let's get the show on the road. Let's go to WU7N, James.
Well, thank you, Dave. As usual, you and Ron both have really good pictures on the 1.2 gigahertz feedback. And also fitting the pattern, it looks like we're only a couple seconds behind on the streaming. I can see over my shoulder. Today, let's see, the big project was to replace an overhead valve gasket cover on a Toyota 1996 Camry engine. And as soon as that was done, I thought I should have taken some pictures of that. You guys might be interested in that. The design of the engine is a little different. We'll see if it stops any of the dripping oil, and we'll see if the salmon in the salmon stream downstream send me a thank you note. So that's it for me for the first round. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue, about 7 miles away from the top of Cougar Mountain. Back to you, Dave.
WU7N, James, thanks with that. Let's go up to Bob, G9PQ.
Well, good evening, Dave, and good evening to everyone on the net. Well, unfortunately, I still don't have my streaming up and going yet. I've actually been rearranging a little bit here, and I'd like to know how I'm coming through tonight, because I moved the antenna back out onto my porch, onto my deck. It was not doing so well where I had it placed up in the attic, and so it's back outside. It's better for PSRG, but I'm curious how it's working for CTAC. I'm on low power right now, which is 5 watts on this radio, and it's the elk pointed pretty close to at the repeater. So, okay, back to you, Dave, K9PQ.
Okay, Bob. Well, your signal is about 100% quieting. It couldn't be better. Whatever you've done, you get a great signal at 5 watts coming in. However, I've got a question for you. I've tried to see what I could find on streaming, and I got the site can't provide a secure connection, www.sql.net, uses an unspecified unreported protocol. And it says the client and server don't support common SSL protocol versions or other sites. This is likely to be caused when the server needs RC4, which is no longer considered secure. Do you have any comments on that?
First comment is you said SQL.net. Did you make QSL.net?
Right, I'm at QSL.net.
Okay. No, I mean, this sounds a little different than what I'm used to seeing, which is sometimes a website will allow their certificates to expire, and you'll get a warning about that. But from what you described, that sounds a little bit different. My guess would be, more and more websites are going over to HTTPS for a secure connection from just the HTTP, which used to be really common. And probably it's not meeting some standard for HTTPS that is expected these days. But that's just a guess. Back to you, K9PQ.
Okay, with all the bells and whistles anyway, I can see what's happening on 1.2, so that's moved an antenna today, so everything's working out there. So let's go on to Ron, KD7, TKU. I'm not getting audio from Ron.
I hear him. He must be on the output. Ron, check your duplex.
Okay, how's that? Can you hear me?
Have audio from you now.
So I'm okay now?
You sound good now. You're hitting a repeater.
Okay, well anyway, I was saying, first I had trouble getting Lee on Skype, and I finally got him up here, and I'm looking at him. But before that, I had my Chromebook here, and I charged it all up, and I thought I would turn it on so I could watch the live streaming. Well, that was an ordeal. It said I needed to reset my password, or I don't know. Anyway, it's taken me 15 minutes to try to get that straightened out. And so now I'm at the streaming, and I see a jumbled up screen. So I don't know what I have to do to get that working. But anyway, I'll work on that here, and I'll leave talking, I guess. So let me switch over to Lee. So go ahead, Lee, you're on.
Okay. Right, Lee here, N7KC in Port Angeles. Well, I was wrestling with Skype here when I turned the computer on about an hour ago, and then I went and laid down to rest my back. I've had some back problems in the last week and a half, and when I came back, it wanted to put a new version of Skype in. So I let it go ahead and do it. And it did it really fast. So here I am. And everything seems to be okay. I want to say hi to James and Dave. And I said howdy to Ron and Bob as well. And I think I jotted down everybody I heard on here. So I don't think there's anybody else yet. If there's somebody I missed, hi. Anyway, it's all lovely, lovely weather over here the last couple of days. Paula finished her sailing class last night, and I got a little bit of video of that. But it's still on the camera. I don't have it off the camera, so I can't show it on the net. I was in good enough shape I could work today in the yard somewhat, and our wood pile and whatnot. We had a tree service come by Monday morning and take out a madrona, that was seriously overhanging a neighbor's yard to the west here. So we had them take that out, and I have some great video of that. But again, it's on the camera, and I can't show it. I haven't got it off the camera yet. Anyway, I'm back in the clover here. I wasn't feeling so sharp there. My back went out a week ago, Monday. It took me several days to get back up on my feet. And I've been doing a lot of exercising and walking and whatnot, and I'm just delighted to report I'm in pretty good shape right now. I'm able to get something done. Anyway, with that, I notice I'm about out of time, so I'll send it back to Net. This is N7KC in Port Angeles. Back to Dave, I guess.
Okay, thanks for checking in, Lee, N7KC via Ron, N7 or KD7QKU. This is Dave in Lake City, KD7BYM. Well, off to Costco I was today to get some fiddles to fill the cupboard. Boy, it was really nice this afternoon. It was overcast and a little foggy this morning, and quite a bit of dew on the ground. I put my garbage cans out on Wednesday, and the cans were covered with dew, not rain, and it was pretty saturated. Then by about noon, it had all burned off and had beautiful sunshine. Came home, got some domestic chores done, and climbed the ladder up to the roof line and reoriented my 1.2 gig antenna, and it seems to be receiving fair now. I've got a little bit of sync problem coming back in on it, but I can make out a majority of the images. I would say at 4 o'clock this afternoon, the images were much better, and I had full color. But this evening it seems to have dropped down a little bit. And P quality is about a P3 picture as opposed to a P4 plus that I had earlier in the afternoon. So that's all I've got to bring to the net today. So let's go back up to James, WW7N.
Well, thank you, Dave. And, Costco, at least the one in Redmond, did a service for me that I don't know if it's a usual service or not, but they have a device there that they can check the calibration of a torque wrench. So I saw one guy using it, and I said, gee, can members come in and check the calibration of the torque wrench that they own? And the guy said, sure, bring it on in. And so I did, and, for such a cheap torque wrench, I was amazed. He did it once, and when it was set on 100, it was 99.5, and then it was like 100.3 or something. Those clever Chinese, they still keep amazing me. I figured plus or minus 20 pounds, foot-pounds would have been pretty good. Glad to hear you're on the mend. A little worried about you there. Anyway, what I've got up on the screen right now is what I was working on today. This is a Toyota Camry engine, and I think the resolution is good enough. You guys can see this is the valve cover with the little white finger is rotating around right now. Reset. And when you take the valve cover off, this is what it looks like right here. A couple of interesting things. These things always look easier when you watch someone else do them on YouTube, the source of all wisdom and knowledge in the universe, as opposed to doing them yourself. I found out that this little hook piece over here stopped the valve cover from coming off, so I looked at this picture and I wondered how they got that valve cover off with their little hook piece in position. And also this big black plastic thing, which I think is part of the timing belt mechanism. I had to undo a little bolt down here and get it off. But here's the most fun part of all. Reset. These tubes right here, actually, if you go way to the bottom of these tubes, they contain spark plugs. So I had to reach down with an extender, and copious amounts of electrical tape and various other items were used to loosen up old spark plugs in the bottom here. and then put in new spark plugs. So anyway, I replaced this gasket all the way around. We'll see if that cuts down on my oil leakage. The old gasket was so brittle and hard, I was concerned I would not be able to get it off the valve cover. Well, anyway, I got it all back together again, drove it up to the YMCA and back again, and with no strange noises or billows of smoke coming out from under the hood. So it looks like I was successful. We'll see if it holds together for another day for the trip to Renton Fishing Game tomorrow. Maybe I'll change the oil and wash out the radiator coolant, and maybe it'll get me through the winter. It's a 1996, which I guess makes it, 22 years old, and only has about 115,000 miles on it. So I expect to be in a Toyota product, it'll go at least another 100K maybe. So that's it for me this round. Let's get a picture. All right, there's a picture, and here's an ID. This is WW7ATS. Back to you, Dave.
WW7N. Your audio dropped out for some reason when you said you went to Costco to test something. Can you try that again?
Okay, I'm trying a full 4 watts here. Is this any better?
Oh, it sounds great.
Oh, well, what I was saying is Costco offers kind of an unusual service, or at least my Redmond Costco offered it to me, where they have a device bolted to their concrete floor that they use to test the calibration of their own torque wrenches. I have a cheap Chinese torque wrench from China, and I asked the guy if he'd be willing to test mine, and I was pleasantly surprised that on one test, when it was set for 100 foot-pounds, it was 99.5, and then the second test was 100.3. So once again, those clever Chinese are just outdoing us. I don't understand how they can get a torque wrench over here for the cost of the diesel fuel. I think that's called dumping. Anyway, I don't know if this audio is any better. How are you hearing me, Dave?
You're full quieting now.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to run more than a couple hundred milliwatts into my current antenna. Hopefully that'll change here in the last week of the sunshininess here. I'm going to try and get some real antennas up. Back to you, Dave, WU7N.
Thanks for that. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Do we have anybody else who'd like to check in to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 repeater? Hearing none, let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
Well, okay. Well, it's sure good to see Lee, and Lee, I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. I didn't know you were having trouble, but I'm glad. I've had my share of back and neck issues, and it is no fun. So I'm really glad to hear you're doing better. And I don't remember you having such a long beard. I think it's been a while since I've seen you. Anyway, it's nice to see you there. And also nice to see those pictures of the Toyota. My Toyota is 15 years old and also has right around, it may have clocked over. It was 149 and a few hundred a little while ago. I should check it to see if it's actually hit 150. But yeah, it's right there and going strong. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. Let's see. Had something else. Oh, just gorgeous day today. And Dave, you talking about climbing the ladder? I thought you up to the roof level. I thought you were going to say to clean out the gutters. I've got to do that. I think it was Saturday. We had just a downpour, one of the heaviest downpours I've seen in a while. It didn't last very long, but boy, my gutters were completely overflowing. And they're supposed to clean them out, I think, 3 times a year. As the condo association does, but must be overdue or something. They'll get cleaned here soon. They're going to replace my roof next week, so they'll get cleaned out. But I think I'm going to clean them out anyway. Okay, back to net. K9PQ.
K9PQ, KD7ZYM here. Let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, this is KD7QKU. Well, I was watching the someone has a picture on. My picture hasn't come up yet. There it goes. It was quicker. The delay wasn't quite as much before, but it was nice seeing Lee. I think Lee's trimmed his beard. It seemed to me like the last time I saw him, he had a longer beard. Well, I have a story to tell, I guess. I went fishing today. I told Dave this story before, but maybe he'll bear with me. So, it was kind of foggy here all morning, and so Al said he would come down about 11, and we were hoping the fog would burn off. Well, he got here. Couldn't see the sun. It was sort of foggy around here. But when we got over to Issaquah, the sun was out in all of its glory, and it was just absolutely beautiful. So we went up to Alice Lake, and we fished till 2 o'clock. I caught, what did I say, 3 fish, I think, lost 2. Okay. And so we had a nice time. And so we came back into the boat ramp, and I had to back the trailer down, and then I had to walk down the tongue, and so I could hook the winch cable to the bow of the boat, to winch it on. And I could hardly walk down the tongue and everything. I put a 6-inch wide board on the tongue with U-bolts, and then I had put 2 2x6s down the trailer so I could walk down straddle-legged. Man, oh man, I mean, I'm telling you, I was hanging on to the winch rope for stability, and I was just about falling off in the water. I was going in every direction. I finally got down there. I'm telling you, it was terrible. And I finally got down there. You have to climb around the winch post, first, and get on the tongue, and then start down there. And I carried my hip boots. I should have just put my hip boots on. It would have sure made it easier. Let it drop. Someone would have taken a picture of me, and it would have been a comedy. It looked like mutton, yeah. But anyway, so then I'm down there, and I got the hook. I had the winch rope, hooked underneath the fender. So I unhooked it. I had it in my hand. So now I said, "Okay, Al, push the boat out." And then my back is towards the shore, and so all of a sudden, I don't know why I said it, but I said, "Hang on to the rope." The bow rope's about 50 feet long. It was almost a little bit short, so I put a long rope on. Well, darned if he didn't, I guess, throw the rope up on the deck of the boat. And he pushed the boat out all right. And I'm standing there, and I've watched it sail out towards the middle of the lake. It was terrible. It didn't go that far. Probably went 100 feet out. And then I said, "Oh, my dollars," or something. And he said, "Oh, man, that's the stupidest thing I ever did." So anyway, we're standing there watching the boat, and the wind is slowly drifting the boat over towards the houses. There's just houses all around the lake, and most of them, their yard comes right down to the water. The first house had a concrete block, wall that's made out of those blocks that you set together. It was about 3 feet high, and then the next house didn't have anything. So anyway, the boat finally came to rest on the next house on the beach, and so let me let it drop again. So I said to Al, "There's a chain link fence. The game department put in a chain link fence, and it kind of runs right down to the water. But you could kind of get around the end of the fence and then get up on these people's bulkhead." And so I said, "Can you do that?" Al said, "Maybe." Man, he had a terrible time. He finally got up on the bulkhead, and I was afraid he was going to fall off. And so I yelled at him, "Get on the lawn," so he wouldn't fall off and hurt himself. And so anyway, he finally goes over there, and he retrieves the boat, and he gets the rope, and then he drags it all the way back over to me, and then he has to get off the bulkhead, and then he has to throw me the rope, and then I have to bring the boat around and get it hooked. But anyway, oh my goodness, what a time we had. So we got the boat loaded, and we actually had a nice trip. It was just an absolutely gorgeous day. So that's my little fishing story. So let's go over to Lee.
Okay. In 7KC in Port Angeles. Well, Ron, that's quite a story. Oh my! Well, it's lucky the wind wasn't, not working in your favor, so to speak. Holy smokes! Well, I don't really have a whole lot more to add here. We've had, of course, I miss, I always like to get my my bubble section out for the solstice and the equinoxes, and I always take a noon sight and so forth. I've been logging it for several years. Well, there was no, at the last solstice it was completely cloudy, no chance of seeing the sun, and it was the same way. It was actually raining here for the equinox, so I didn't get any data on that. I was going to try to video some of that process and try to get a sight through the bubble section so we see how it lines up with the sun. But that didn't happen. So I've missed the last two. Maybe I'll have more luck in December. I don't know. But boy, it's sure inky black over here pretty early now. And it's the time of year, in the evening you hole up with a book. You just get a book and take advantage of, the lack of daylight. Anyway, things are going well here. Yeah, I've had a chronic back problem ever since I was about 50. It was a piano incident. It was actually a keyboard incident, and sort of a piano. Looked like a piano, but it was a keyboard. And I did a job on a disc, and that was the worst thing I've ever done to myself, and changed my life from that point on. So, but I muddled through it. It doesn't happen very often, when something really goes south on me, but when it does, it takes several days to get back in the saddle. Okay, interesting net. And this is N7KC in Port Angeles. Back to the net. Go ahead, Dave.
N7KC, thanks to Ron, KD7QKU, for taking Lee's image and putting it on. Well, I was listening to James' story with his head gasket, not head gasket, but the gasket on his car to keep it from leaking oil. I had a Mazda RX-7 1982 vintage that I had taken into my mechanic just for normal service. And he noticed that the oil seal on the engine seemed to be leaking. But he said, don't worry, I can fix it for several $1,000s, or you can just add an extra pint of oil every 2,000 miles. And so that was good advice, and I ended up putting another 45,000 miles on it with just adding a little more oil now and then. Although I did have a tray in my garage underneath the engine, and I parked it, and it had a few drops of oil that came down in the garage, but it was easy to wipe up with about two layers of paper towel, and it just kept running. So anyway, just adding more oil in my case seemed to help. I don't know what it did to the environment on the highway, but I no longer have a vehicle, and I have an electric vehicle that doesn't seem to be dripping any oil at this time. So that's what I've got to say for now. This is Dave, KD7CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. And I'll pause for a second, see if anybody else wants to check into the net. Hearing none, let's go up to WU7N. James.
Dave, I think you called for WU7N. Is that correct? I'm lagging a little because the audio on the streaming is superior to the audio I'm getting off my 2-meter receiver. Is that correct?
You're up, WU7N.
Okay, well, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this vehicle. Add a little extra oil and have a pan under it when you park. Before I forget, here's something I wanted to show Bob and Ron. Stand by. This is a product I did some research on, and it's a curcumin, which is an extract of the turmeric root, And this particular one is supposed to be a particular type that absorbs very well in your body. It's an anti-inflammatory that's naturopathic. I don't think you could hurt yourself too much with it. And of course, Carlson's, carried by PCC Cooperative Foods. They have both cod liver oil and fish oil, which not only is supposed to be an anti-inflammatory, but also is supposed to be great for your heart and circulatory systems. Anyway, I thought I'd mention that. Sorry to hear that the piano won, but it sounds like you've learned to deal with it over the years. The other thing that I saw that was kind of interesting today was here's the Doppler ship radar picture, and it didn't rain anywhere in the Northwest as far as I'm aware. But as the sun went down, I guess this is some sort of thermal inversion. If anybody knows what causes this, I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on it. But anyway, that's the three things I wanted to get out here. And there's a picture there of me, and looks like the picture for some reason is taking a good loop today. So those are the three thoughts I had for my round here. It looks like it's 8:31. Let me turn it back to Dave, Net Control. Go ahead.
WU7N, James. Well, let's move down to Bob, T9PQ.
Well, hello again, and Lee, sorry to hear you didn't have better luck with the sextant there. And Ron, what a story. Man, oh man. Oh, yeah, I've had a couple runaway or near runaway boat stories, but that's, I don't know if I've had one quite like that. That's something. And I didn't know about Lake Alice. I don't know why. It's not that far away, and these days with Snoqualmie Ridge, it's not really even off the beaten path, but one of those just around the area that I never really knew about. Kind of interesting. I looked it on Google Maps and saw what appeared to be the boat ramp pretty primitive. What it looked like just a dirt track with some kind of a little bit of a board in there for it to be. I mean, not a board maybe, but just it looks like it's something wooden that maybe you could describe what it actually is. But maybe I'm looking at the wrong place. It doesn't look like much. What I'm looking at is the southeast corner of the lake. Let's see. So the Forerunner is holding up quite nicely for 1,000 miles, and I have put my share of miles on it, but really 7 years of working at home kept it down very nicely. So now I'm sort of in the market for either an electric car like Dave's or plug-in hybrids, something like that. Dave, I'm glad your car's not leaking oil. I'd be very concerned if it was leaking oil. But check that it's not leaking electrons. That could be an issue. Okay, back to you, Dave. K9PQ.
Thanks for the humor, Bob. Let's go on to Ron, 87QKU.
KD7ZYM in the group. This is KD7QKU. Well, Bob, you had a little static on your transmission there this time. You didn't have it before. You might need a little more power. Well, it does have a kind of a concrete boat ramp. They must make them up. They're pieces of concrete that's hooked together. They're about 16 inches wide, and I suppose they're about, well, individual pieces are about 16 inches wide, and then they're about 15 feet wide, or 10 feet wide maybe. And they hook them together. I don't know how they get them in the water, but maybe they just kind of roll them out. I don't know. But anyway, they work fine. So it does have sort of a concrete ramp. Dirt coming up to it, of course, gravel dirt, and then you get on the ramp. But yeah, it works fine. Yeah, that's the first time I ever had a boat drift away while I was standing on the boat trailer looking at it. Kind of been near misses a couple of times, but we always managed to grab the rope or something happened. But yeah, this time it was, and there wasn't anybody else fishing. There was a few people home. There was one guy that had been out with, I would say, his grandkid. He'd had a dock with an electric motor on it and a couple of lawn chairs, and his wife, and there was a little kid, and they had kind of gone out in the lake and putted around. And he was near where my boat landed on the shore, and I suppose that we could have gone over maybe and asked him to go retrieve it out in the middle of the lake if it wouldn't have come in with his dock. Then I noticed there was 2 or 3 other people on the lake that had electric motors on the back of their dock, so it must be kind of a common thing. And I can see that where that would work just fine. You have an electric motor, and you can just run your dock out in the lake and maybe drop the anchor and sit there in your lawn chair and fish, and then when you're done, and you just run it back in. Maybe you could even troll. This is a small lake. It's only, I'm guessing, 50 acres, 30 acres. I think it's maybe 30-some acres. Not a very big lake, but it's a real nice lake. Real pretty lake. Lots of nice houses. There was, surprisingly, quite a few people out today working in their yards, or throwing balls for their dogs to swim out and get. I could have had my shorts on, but after, when I left here, it was kind of foggy. When we got there, it was sunny. I kind of wished for my shorts, but I didn't have them. So anyway, let's go over, and maybe Lee has another story to tell. Oh, let me let her drop. I was sitting here thinking about Gary. We haven't heard from Gary for a while. I sure hope he's okay. He had been a little bit under the weather. And then he did show up, but then, I don't know. And I saw, Lee sent me a picture with Paula behind I guess you'd call it the wheel of a really nice big sailboat. And she had this bright, I guess, chartreuse green coat on, or life jacket or something. But anyway, she looked really, really nice running the sailboat. Okay, over to Lee.
Okay. Let's see, Lee here in 7KC in Port Angeles. Let's see, in the order, the echo link stopped, the audio stopped coming to me about 20 minutes after the net started, and then it got real noisy, and then while Ron was talking there, it came back. And now I can hear the audio on Skype again, I think. But I can hear myself through Ron's Skype there as far as, actually I'm not hearing that either. Oh, okay. Okay, fine. I thought I wasn't hearing that, but Ron had turned it down. Let's see. Well, okay, so I put my back out, and we got our big flu shot 2 weeks ago on Monday, and I got the flu from it, and so did Paula. Just a mild case. I had a sore throat, and my eyes ached a little bit, and I had kind of a very mild flu. And we're sure it was the result of the flu shot because we both came down with it at just about the same time. And mine just went away a couple of days ago. I was starting to get pretty good. So it was a miserable couple of weeks. Anyway, better back in the gravy. Gosh, I don't have much else, I guess. One of these days I've got to get my digital stuff set up here. I gave a signal to Rob from my place. I streamed a pattern to him a week or so ago while he was doing some testing. And it's time for me to get that stuff up and working again so I can get directly in, I think. That's about it, I think, from here. In 7KC, Port Angeles, send her back to net.
In 7KC, and thanks for Ron, KD7QKU, for beaming him up, as they say. This is Dave, KD7EYM, and I'll pause in case anybody else would like to join us. Television Society Net. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, it was kind of interesting. I heard the word concrete and boating, and it reminded me, gosh, it was about 20 years ago, the University of Washington used to, in the spring, just before the major first day of boating season, they'd have competitions with the students that made concrete boats. And the hulls were made out of concrete, and they were taking pictures of them, and it was quite unique. Some of them had some very nice-looking vessels that they made, some of them 20 feet, 25 feet long, and they even had a deck on them. So, however, the deck was not concrete. But it was amazing when you stop to think that a boat could be made out of concrete. So, that's about all I've got, and so we'll move it back up to James, WU7N.
Well, thank you, Dave. And my goodness, Lee, you're just having terrible luck this year. The flu and your back going out. I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend. And Lee, I just thought I'd throw this picture up here just to remind you it could always be worse. I'm not sure what the story of the arena is here, but definitely got away from them. And I think it also ran aground. And what I've always found interesting about this picture is apparently the cargo containers piled up on the top of the ship didn't fall into the water. And if you look how badly it's listing, I've always kind of wondered about why. Lee, maybe you have a comment on that. And, you know, for concrete structures that float, this is always one of my favorites. This was the Mulberry Harbor. And what these were concrete, sort of like big giant boxes that were built for D-Day. And unfortunately, a large storm came along in June 19 through June 22, 1944, and sank them. That doesn't mean they still weren't a great idea. I guess they actually survived to this day because in 1990 they were still, someone found them and they were still, some of them were still floating. And I guess that's kind of what they look like with anti-aircraft guns stacked on top of them. Anyway, for concrete vessels, this is... you know, got to be one of the great engineering accomplishments of World War II, in my opinion. I think you definitely should get that phone out and videotape it so we can all see it. But I'm glad you got your boat back in one piece, and thanks for sharing the story. It can happen to anybody. This is James, WU7N. I'm going to turn it back to net control.
HYB.
K7HYB, welcome aboard.
Good evening, all. I'm a little slow in the uptake tonight. It's been a pretty quiet day other than working on my shop. I picked up a cold from somebody, and so I've been out for the last couple of days, 3 days. So anyway, back to you. Just want to let you know I was in here, Dave. KB7ZYM, K7HYB.
Well, welcome back, Gary. Let's go on to Bob, K9PQ.
Hey there. James, I forgot to mention a time before. Thanks for those recommendations. I will check them out. The fish oil and the theracumin, or curcumin. Gary, good to hear you in there. Let's see. I thought I had something new. Oh, the concrete boxes. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure with the new floating bridges, but they must be the old ones. Those were the floats, concrete. And this is a question probably for Lee as well. My dad told me years ago I was going to put some. We were putting some, filling in at our lakefront, putting some rocks in for whatever reason. I don't remember what it was, and there was some concrete, and I was going to toss that in there too, and he said, no, that wasn't a good idea. It would just dissolve away. So is there special concrete just for marine applications, or do they coat it? How does that work? Okay, back to net, K9PQ.
K9PQ. Well, let's go on to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7ZYM and the group KD72KU here. Well, it was nice to hear from Gary. I just mentioned, Gary, maybe you heard me, that we hadn't heard from him for a while. The last time, I think we heard from you were a little bit sick, but you seem to be better now. And Lee was saying that they got the flu from the flu vaccine. I guess, to my knowledge, that's never happened here in our house, but we're due for the flu shot. We should have probably had it before now, so we'll be getting it very shortly, and I'll see if we experience the same thing. We have a baseball game on Saturday night, so maybe I won't get it till after Saturday. I don't want to be sick for the baseball game. So anyway, and as far as I know, yes, the new 520 bridge, it floats on concrete pontoons. Matter of fact, I think some of them kind of cracked and they had to tap them or something. So I don't know. And then they make houses. I saw on TV that they make houses the same way. They build big concrete pontoons, and then they build, boathouses on top of them. There was a program on TV, and I watched that one. They would pour the concrete in the big square box or whatever it was, and then they would, put a deck on it, and then they would drag it down in the water, and then they would go ahead and build a house on it. Sometimes they built two-story houses on it. So there must be a waterproof concrete. I don't really know. My son, he worked in concrete. He would probably be able to answer that question. But anyway, I can't. So let's go over to Lee. He probably has the answer.
Okay. N7KC in Port Angeles. Well, I don't really, but I do have a concrete boat story. Years ago when I was working at oceanography, it was engineering services, but I was on assignment, a special assignment the whole time I was there to Brian Lewis, who was he was a ocean bottom seismologist, and he was from South Africa, and he wanted a sailboat, so he went up to Vancouver, someplace, and had a 50-foot concrete hull made, and then floated it back down to his place on Lake Union. It was Lake Union, and it was over kind of on the, trying to think now, I was there, I saw it. Anyway, and then he finished that sailboat all by himself. Oh, it was just a lovely thing. It was just, you couldn't tell, of course, it was concrete. You look at it, it looked just like fiberglass to me, but it was a concrete hull. And he did the inside in great, big, heavy mahogany and all that stuff. It was just a beautiful, beautiful boat. And then when it was after I left oceanography, but he and another couple of guys were going to sail it to Hawaii. And he was going out the strait somehow, and I don't know what happened, but he hit something, a deadhead or something like that, pretty hard, punched a hole in it, and sank. This was a number of years ago. Anyway, it was named, the name of it was Amakaya, I think was the name of it, when in Swahili was homeward bound. So anyway, it turns out nobody got hurt. They got picked up somehow off of the sailboat, but apparently they lost the whole thing. So that was too bad. Anyway, and he spent years working on that. It was just a beautiful, beautiful piece of work, and there it went. Anyway, that's all I got, I guess, and I'm about out of time. And Gary, hi to you. Nice to hear you. This is N7KC. I'm in Port Angeles, and I'll send her back to Dave.
N7KC, courtesy of Ron, 87QKU, and also Echolink. Well, this is Dave, again, 87QYM in Lake City. Boy, it's been a nice net this evening. Quality has been a little bit better. I noticed that the image coming in on my 1.2 gig receiver has increased almost 1.5 P units. I don't know what happened there, but I'm getting a good color picture coming back myself. Fairly stable and good color. And going down the line, James had a fairly nice picture coming in, and so did Ron. So anyway, that's my report. And get an IBM again at 10 minutes 2. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, 87UYM on 08 repeaters. So let's move up to the top, the WU7N, James.
Well, there's two things that always have amazed me that they float at all, and one is steel ships. The idea, you know, that a metal vessel can float, and the other thing is concrete vessels. But I do know that when concrete vessels get holes in them, they tend to sink pretty fast. And so, with full credit to King 5, there's what it looks like when a concrete bridge structure. I think what happened was a bunch of rainwater came into it, and no one literally was manning the pumps, and so it filled with rainwater and it sank. So anyway, with that, maybe I will say 73 here. It looks like it's 8:52. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining the net tonight. Good stories tonight. This is James, WU7N, and I'll turn back to net.
WU7N, thanks for that. And let's go to Bob, K9PQ.
Okay, well, I agree. Good stories. I did turn my power up a bit. I'd be interested to hear if that is making a difference. I turned it up to the next level up, which is probably about 15 to 20 watts, something like that. And yeah, I think I'll just make this my 73. Good to hear you all in tonight, and we'll catch you next time around, K9PQ.
Okay, thanks for joining us, Bob. Let's see if Gary's still out there, K7HYB.
Here and ready to talk. Let me turn some radios down here. Ooh, wow. KD7ZYM, K7HYB in the group. Yeah. Well, I jumped in a little bit late, so I understand that. Latency's not bad tonight. Picture quality about the same as it's been. One of these days I'll get off my duff and get something done out here. I don't know when that'll be. There's always something in the way. Time mostly. So I get in my 73 round. Don't really have too much to contribute this evening, and that I kind of agree with James on the things they built for World War II they still use them after that too. They just built stuff on top of it, but it was quite a deal. They really come up with a lot of engineering stuff. The British to figure out how to make things work. Anyway, good evening all. And I was a repeater down for a while, Dave.
Not recently. Just when we made the changeover, it was down for about a week and a half. That was about it.
Well, okay. Because I tried to, maybe my signal strength wasn't strong enough or something, but I tried to key it up the other night, a couple of nights in a row, Sunday night, I remember whether it was Monday night or Sunday night or Monday night, both of those nights I've tried to get it to turn on. I even used the command frequency and I couldn't get it to any sync bars. So that's why I was concerned. Anyway, but it seems to be working fine now. Okay, good evening, and take care all. Good to hear you, Lee. Good to hear you, Bob, James, and Ron. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you the next go-around. KD7ZYM, K7HYB.
K7HYB. Let's move on down to Ron, KD7QKU, for a final.
Okay, this is KD7QKU. Well, you probably heard this story before, but when the I-90 bridge sank, I was hunting over in eastern Washington up above Eniat, and we were up on, I guess it was Gold Ridge. So anyway, we're up there in the snow. It was after Thanksgiving time, if I remember correctly. And I got back to the truck, and I had some time on my hands, so I decided I'd turn the radio on. So I turned the radio on, and I got Cairo or somebody. And lo and behold, they said the I-90 bridge sank. And I just, I was flabbergasted. I couldn't hardly believe that was possible. But anyway, so I turned the radio off, and then later on, I don't know, some of the guys showed up, or we went back to the tents or whatever, and I remembered it. So I told them, yeah, the I-90 bridge. So, and they thought I was nuts. But anyway, so when we came home, guess what? The I-90 bridge had sunk. So that was the way I remember the story. All right. 73s, everybody. It was a good net. Nice to hear from you. Let's go over to Lee.
Okay, N7KC, Port Angeles. Yeah, don't forget the Hood Canal Bridge. Remember that? That went down and was it the Columbus Day storm or something like that? Or was that? I'm trying to think which one it was, one of the storms. And then the ferry system put a special run up to Port Townsend so people could get off the peninsula. Okay, well, 7-3s, guys. I enjoyed the net. A lot of good stories tonight. And, of course, I'm watching the stream. And, Dave, you have a dynamite picture. Of course, Ron, you're excellent, too. So, and, James, yep, same with you. Thank you. This has been 7KC, Port Angeles. Back to you next.
Thanks for that, N7KC via Echolink and Ron, KD7QKU. Well, is there anything for anyone before we button up the net?
One question, Dave. I'm just curious to know, does Echolink still have the same anomaly that it had before, where when you log on to Echolink, if you got two people logging onto the repeater, they can hear each other, but I could not hear anybody else on the net via Echolink. Do you or Lee know anything about that?
Negative. Maybe Lee has a comment in 7KC.
Okay. Well, no, I don't know anything about that either, James. It's working now, okay. I had about a 10-minute period there where I had nothing but just heavy noise coming in on it, and then Ron sort of emerged out of it, and then it's been working fine ever since. So I think, you know what, I just don't know. So there you go. N7KC, Port Angeles.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. We'd like to thank the owners and operators of the 08 machine, the SeaTac Repeater Group, for allowing us to use it for a voice communications channel for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net, held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So if it's train shutting down the net at 2059, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Good evening, all.
GI7GVM.
Was someone calling?
N7KC disconnected.
GI7, turn that down. GI7GVM, KB7DQH. Must apologize for my case of symphylitis. Yeah, Bill Kelly disappeared. KB7DQH.
Station frequency, this is WW7 Hotel Yankee Bravo. You're transmitting on the output frequency.